to University Bedford, your one-stop shop for everything Universal. In this episode of the Deep Dive, we're going to find out just how much the population of Kempston, Hardwick, Stuartby and the local area will increase during construction, and much more. We are now into volume 2 of the planning documents in this deep dive series where we are exploring each of the documents one by one. If this is your thing, then you are in the right place. We do construction updates, deep dives, and our Thursday evenings. University Bedford Live, 7 p.m. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, let's jump straight into the documents. So, we are on document number 2.3.0, which is Chapter 3, Approach to the EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment. So, once we skip past the inevitable blank page, we are now into the content. So we have introduction, engagement, approach to the assessment of the proposed development, and general assumptions and limitations. Okay, we have tables, construction years for assessment and operational years for assessment, traffic scenarios, very interesting and poignant topic at the moment, and matrix for classifying effects. So let's jump in. Right. The introduction. This chapter sets out the overall approach and methodology relating to the environmental impact assessment process and preparation of the environmental statement documentation. The environmental statement presents the information specified in Schedule 4 of the Town and Country Planning EIA Regulations 2017, the EIA Regulations. The approach to the assessment is informed by current best practice guidance. As we know, these documents have been pulled together not just by Universal, but in collaboration with a lot of third parties, including experts in environmental studies, supply of utilities, and of course the government. So very, very interesting. In fact, here is the list of those who have been roped in. Anglian Water, Bedford Borough Council, Bedford Group of Internal Drainage Boards, Central Bedfordshire Council, Civil Aviation Authority, Cranfield Airport, Department of Culture, Media and Sport, Department of Culture, Media and Sport, yes, we've done that one, Department for Transport, East West Rail Company, the Environment Agency, Forest of Marston Vale Trust, Health and Safety Executive, Historic England, Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, Natural England, National Highways, Network Rail, the Office for Investment, Old Warden Aerodrome, and UK Power Networks. An awful lot of people have been consulted in the preparation of these documents. So for anyone wondering if this has just been thrown together, it certainly has not. This has been a very detailed application. We know that there's a lot of pages, lots of words, but we also know that it's been consolidating the expertise from a lot of sources as well. A formal scoping opinion has not been sought for the proposed development. The scope of the assessment has been informed by the responses and commented received during the 30-day engagement period. Did you attend one of those sessions, either in Stuartby at Kimberley College or in Bedford at the college there? Let me know in the comments. You might have bumped into me and never known it. There you go. The EIA environmental topics have also been informed by UDX's extensive experience constructing and operating theme parks globally, thereby leading to a strong understanding of the areas of likely interest for development of this nature. The EIA reported on this environmental study considers the following environmental topics: traffic and transport, ecology and nature conservation, landscape and visual, air quality, noise and vibration, cultural heritage and archaeology. Lots of archaeology there. In fact, did you know that in one of the pits near the site, they actually found a dinosaur fossil? Fact. Ground, not during these works, a while back. Ground conditions and soils, water resources, socioeconomics, greenhouse gases, climate resilience, major accidents and disasters, population and human health, cumulative effects. And the approach to the assessment considers basically, and I'll summarize this, what they're planning to do, what they're planning to do if they can't do what they're planning to do, and what they expect to do as an absolute minimum. So the baseline scenario. There are worst case scenarios that are painted out and the effects that those worst case scenarios might have, not just on the theme park, but the local area as well. We can skip some of this stuff because I think it is stuff we've covered before. An overview of reasonable alternatives considered is set out in Chapter 4. We'll get to that. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are for that. Chapter 4, Consideration of Reasonable Alternatives, Volume 1, which takes into account the following new A421 junction designs, drainage design options for the core zone and the East-West Rail station, yet to be confirmed by East-West Rail. They were waiting on the Universal application, Universal, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's waiting for each other. At least Universal have made the first move, which means that East-West Rail can now do what they need to do. Right, the existing baseline scenario comprised of site visits and surveys, desk-based studies, review of existing site-specific information, modelling and engagement with the relevant statutory and non-statutory consultees. Specific years have been used as appropriate within relevant disciplines for the existing baseline scenario based on the availability of data and methodological requirements. For example, the air quality assessments uses 2022 as a baseline year, while 2023 is used for noise and vibration, traffic and transport and greenhouse gases. So it's basically saying, look, we've not had to rely solely on our own studies. We've been able to kind of use some existing studies as well. Brilliant. That's sufficient. Love that. Future baseline covered in Chapter 5, Chapter 8, Chapter 14. We'll get to that. Assessment scenarios. The environmental statement considers both construction and operation. Table 3-1 and Table 3-2 set out the years considered by the EIA for both phases of the proposed development and the rationale for each. The transport assessment and the environmental statement are based on reasonable assumptions in relation to land uses and phasing and delivery. So again, it's just common sense stuff, which, you know, we're all behind. Construction phase, the period during which the proposed development will be constructed. Okay, yeah, get it. All right, so here we go. This is interesting. Primary construction phase between 2026 and 2031. The initial primary phase of construction program to deliver the ERC designated or designed to accommodate 8.5 million annual visitors and 55,000 visitors per peak day, consisting of a destination, meaning international, as opposed to regional or local, we've heard that word in before, theme park of at least 32.37 hectares inside, excluding parking. Dining and entertainment, hotel with 500 beds, associated services, parking, access routes, green stuff, active travel routes, so that's walking and cycling, utility infrastructure, A421 junction, dual carriageway access road into the core zone, realigned and upgraded Manor Road, we've talked about that, public road A and B, which we've checked on our previous video where we looked at the maps, expanded full platform Wixham's rail station and a shuttle bus service between Wixham's and the theme park. There'll be development on the West Gateway Zone and or Lake Zone so long as the peak hour traffic counts do not exceed what has been assessed in Appendix 5.1 Transport Assessment. We'll get to that. And controlled by the Travel Plan Appendix 5.6 Travel Plan Volume 3. Okay, fine. Peak construction year will be 2029. That's when we're going to see the most activity on the site. A few years to go from now, but those years will pass very quickly. This existing road and road network and traffic plus traffic associated with peak construction. The assessment is made against 2023 existing traffic flows, as this represents the greatest proportional increase in traffic and because peak construction traffic could occur at any time before 2029. In addition, by 2029, other mitigation or infrastructure improvements may have come forward, which could offset the potential impacts of construction traffic. Great. Now, this bit's quite interesting. Completion of full build out construction. 2031 to 2051, another 20 years. Full build out consists of construction of the balance of the ERC, roads, utilities, rail related development that was not completed during the primary phase, assumed to occur over a 20-year period following the primary opening year, completing in 2051, and operation of the same thereafter, including the evolution and expansion of the same theme park, resort, entertainment over time in an accordance with the planning permission. Fine. Brilliant. All right. The operational phase. Interesting. Okay. 2031. We're going to be there. 2031. Are you excited? Man, I'm excited. Right. Theme park primary phase opening year. The assessment of operational effects assumes that the primary phase is complete and the theme park opens to the public upon completion of the primary phase construction, which for purposes of the environmental statement is assumed to be the year 2031. The assessment also assumes delivery of other ERC components in addition to the theme park road infrastructure, expanded Wixham Station, and other committed developments, and East-West Rail between Oxford and Milton Keynes only, with a shuttle bus service operating between Milton Keynes and the site. Now that is interesting. They are not banking on East-West Rail getting their act together in time for the park opening. They're banking on it being open between Oxford and Bletchley and Milton Keynes, and then running shuttle buses from Milton Keynes to the site. Very interesting. 2046 is when they believe that all of the planting that they're going to do around the site will be mature and will be effective in kind of blocking out sound and noise. And 2051 will be the completion of the full build out. 2051. So we've got, after these 5-6 years, we've still got another 20 years to get excited. Every year they're going to be putting something in. In fact, they're going to be putting 50% of the operating profits back into the investment of the park. That's very exciting. Okay, let's scoot down. Traffic scenarios. Fine. Okay. There's nothing in here which is actually giving us any particular clues. Here, no, that's fine. Okay, so we know that the worst case scenario does not include East-West Rail getting their act together. That's fine. Okay, the technical topic assessments assume that Manor Road option A, which accommodates Network Rail's plan to replace the level road crossing with a road bridge on Manor Road, is the road configuration in the East Gateway Zone built and operational from primary phase opening year. Fine. So basically they're saying on the east side, right, that is the Wixham's side, they are planning for that railway station to be complete and operational, and they're planning for a road bridge over the railway, the East-West Rail Marston Vale line as is, to streamline access into the core zone. Obviously, they put some land aside which is safeguarded for an East-West Rail station dedicated to Universal, which could be a very sensible decision for East-West Rail. And let's keep scooting on further. Assessment criteria, residual effects. This is really just kind of setting out the terms. I mean, here we have, we've got a matrix here which is just explaining. If you're familiar with the Met Office website, you've seen something similar. It's basically just saying okay, what do the words mean in the future documents? So if it says major, it means there's a high magnitude of change with a high chance of it happening, right? So big change, very likely. If it's down here in negligible, no chance, no chance. Okay, so it operates very much like that kind of red, amber, yellow thing that you're used to on the Met Office website. If we keep going, waste management, again, this is very, very technical stuff, but we don't need to dig into it really, because it's really just explaining what's going to be in the future documents. Let's jump to 2.4.0, because I think there's going to be some interesting stuff here. Consideration of reasonable alternatives. Background, requirement for the consideration of alternatives, site selection process. Why Bedford? A421 junction design, drainage design, east-west rail station, and the summary and the conclusion. Let's have a look and see what's what. Okay, the reason that Universal chose this site just outside of Bedford is because it has good transport links for national and international visitors, including close proximity to an existing or potential railway station, Kempston Hardwick Station, Wixham Station, East West Rail Station, yet to be confirmed, and is no more than a 2-hour drive from London and close to a motorway or main A road. The site has a size greater than 200 acres in single ownership to facilitate the proposed development. It has relatively flat topography, which is flat, okay? So it has no needs for too much moving of earth, which can get very expensive very quickly. And it has a supportive local authority, which is great. If you think about some of the challenges that Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, Chessington, Legoland have, they all have a strained relationship with their local authority. Universal does not have that. They've been very engaged with Bedford Borough Council and the parish councils of the local villages throughout this to make sure that they are on board. So also it's close to Luton Airport, 30 minutes by rail, proximity to the A421 with links to the M1, proximity to Kempston Hardwick Station as well as Bedford Station. Lots and lots of stuff, right? Very, very good. Okay, adequate employment catchment. The site is located within a 60-minute drive time of catchment of roughly 1.4 million working age residents. With this deep labour pool, 284,000 are employed in distribution, hotels and restaurants, and a further 59,600 in arts, entertainment, recreation and other services, closely mirroring national sector shares, ensuring a readily available sector-relevant workforce to staff the roles of the entertainment resort complex. Great. We know that Universal want to hire 80% local people, at least. So this is why. This is why Bedford. And they've also got strategic links with Bedford College, Kimberley College, University of Bedford and Cranfield University, who are all in the area. Now, A421 junction design. Okay, so this is the point that has been causing the most upset and grief over the last few weeks. Big time. I was chatting to Andy Collins on BBC Three Counties a few days ago because it's all kicking off about the traffic. Now, what are Universal going to do about it? It's all in the documents. They're actually doing so much more than they ever would need to because they really want this to work. They really want to show that they are committed to the local communities. So they're saying they could do nothing, which would effectively mean people would travel down the existing road network. The benefits of that is it's a low cost option. Okay, it means they don't have to purchase any land, there's no construction program, and it does reduce carbon emissions because they're not having to do that construction work. The disadvantages are there are significant traffic impacts on local road networks, both during construction and the operational phase, and significant adverse air quality impacts for Bedford town and the local community. Has it been chosen? No, absolutely not. No way. Right. Is it a new A421 junction and access into the north of the core zone? Now, this would be various junctions and new road access designs, including north and southbound slip roads from the A421 and new road connections between Fields Road and Manor Road, northwestern corner of the core zone. So that's, if you're looking at the core zone, that's kind of the top corner right there. We've got some pictures of that apparently coming up later. Now, what are the benefits? It maximizes the integration with maximize the integration with and reuse of existing road infrastructure. The downsides are it's likely to result in the removal of an area of community woodland known as Gateway Woods and or potentially other environmentally sensitive adjacent lands. Also, land for new access road between Fields Road and Core Zone is not owned or controlled by National Highways, Bedford Borough Council or Universal and would require the purchase of additional land from a third party. Some junction designs would also require compulsory purchase of a plot at Bedford Commercial Park. Some junction designs would impact the existing Fields Road Bridge. It also requires the construction of a new road bridge over the Marston Vale railway line and would likely result in significant adverse noise and visual impacts to land currently occupied by existing D&G Noble haulage business. Is that being chosen? Has it been selected? No. Okay. Next one. New A421 junction with construction of a new access road across Marston Vale line connecting into the south of the core zone, option A. Various junction and new designs, including north and southbound slip roads from the A421, loop diverge for northbound slip, and new access road providing access road to the southwestern corner of the core zone. That's where we've seen a lot of the activity on the A421 slip road side. Now, the positive side does not impact or require removal of the woods. It avoids impacts on and the requirement for purchase of additional third-party land, and land for new access road between Woburn Road and Core Zone under option contract by UDX. So basically, they have the option for the land. The downsides are that it requires purchase of Bedford Commercial Park land, that the loop diverge for the northbound slip is required, and it requires the construction of a new road bridge over the Marston Vale railway line. Has it been selected? No. Right. Next one. New A421 junction with construction of new access road across Marston Vale railway line connected into the south of core zone, option B. Just said option A. This is option B. Benefits are this is the most direct route for road users on northbound slip. The location enables the introduction of a southbound entry slip lane off the A421, thereby reducing the impacts on local road network of traffic heading south. Has the lowest total area of land take required of all A421 junction and access road options. It does not require the removal of the woods. It avoids impact on and the requirement of purchase from third parties. It uses land for the new access road between land for the new access road between Woburn Road and the core zone is already under option by Universal, and it removes the requirement of purchase of a plot at Bedford Commercial Park. What are the disadvantages? It requires construction of a new road bridge over the Marston Vale rail line. Has it been selected? Yes, it has. So there we have it, and here we have the options. So let's have a quick look. So this is into the north zone, north side of the zone. Okay, that's interesting. That's the A421 there. That's the wooden roundabouts. Okay. Right, fair enough. Okay, here's another one. Now, obviously, these bits, that's on the commercial park, right? So, now this is more like it. So this is likely what we will see. Okay, so that means if you are coming from the M1 or if you're leaving to head towards the M1, you will go on a dedicated slip road. If you're coming into Universal from the M1, you're going to be leaving the A421, going over the A421 and looping round to a new roundabout here. Equally, if you're heading towards the M1, you're going to be flying down this slip road here and joining the A421 as it heads west. Now, here's the interesting bit. If you are heading to Universal from the Bedford direction, you will not be using those slip roads. Instead, you will be utilizing a new roundabout, likely where the end of Broadmead Road is now, and off the old A421 effectively, you will be then jumping on there. Now there will be a new slip road that connects to that roundabout, east and west. Now there are a couple of versions here. Now some of them do, so they have various versions of the different slip roads configuration. So we won't get bogged down too much in that because I think this is subject to change. I think of all the things, this is the thing that we'll see a more fleshed out slip road situation than what we're seeing here. But I do think that we are looking pretty close here to what we're going to get. Right, let's scoot on further down. Drainage design. Basically, they're going to make sure it doesn't flood. We have flooding issues in this country, particularly on the A421. You may have seen the news last year. It all was underwater. Anyway, they're aware. They're going to make sure that there's plenty of drainage. I think we are cool with that. Right, East West Rail Station. This one is quite interesting. So, East West Rail does not currently exist beyond Milton Keynes. It's the Marston Vale line. However, the Marston Vale line may become East West Rail. And if that happens and they continue to expand and invest in that, and that's that's Network Rail doing that, then there might be a new East-West Rail station in the West Gateway Zone, right? Which is, by the way, where that slip road is as well. So if I just scoot up back here to the map, I'll show you exactly where that's going to be. Okay, you see this parcel of land here? Just, if I zoom in, this yellow parcel here, that right there, that is where the East-West Rail safeguarded area is. Okay, so let's see what they've got to say about it. Not very much, it seems. Probably wise, because East West Rail ultimately are responsible for that part. So consideration was given to including the new East West Rail station within the proposed development. However, as the station would be delivered by East West Rail Company, it was considered preferable for it to be consented separately. There you go, East West Rail. Ball's in your court. All right. Now, it is recognised that the non-delivery of East West Rail Station may represent the cautious worst-case scenario from a transport perspective. As a result, the assessment of transport-related effects, including of noise and air quality emissions from transport, has also been assessed through consideration of multiple scenarios, including the non-delivery of the East West Rail Station, as set out in Chapter 3, Approach to EIA. We saw that. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so what we've seen here is we've actually seen the slip roads. Look, everyone's here for the slip road chat. Let's have a, there they go. Amazing. Right, that's some of them. And that's some of them. Love that. Fantastic. Who doesn't love some slip road action? Yeah. All right. Thanks so much for joining us on that little whistle stop tour through documents 2.3.0 and 2.4.0. We're going to keep getting into things. Now, I did tease at the beginning, how much is the population of the local area going to increase when construction kicks off? I do have an answer for you. Up to 30%, up to 30% population increase during construction. And that makes sense. There will be, at the height of this project, 5,000 workers on site. Crazy. And we now know that that's going to be in 2029. Look, if you can't wait to miss, well, if you don't want to miss, my words are all funny today. If you don't want to miss a single moment more, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I can't wait to share some more with you in future episodes. Cheers. Take care.